we would like to take a presentation from the VP of Business Development. Ladies and gentlemen, please a resounding round of applause as I welcome the phenomenal Dr. Vivian Nwosu. Very important.
Cheesy. Thank you everyone for being here today. Good morning. Every single face I can see here today has, in one way or the other, played a very huge role in the success that we've recorded this year and so far. It is common knowledge that our AssetHaus investors and partners are very busy people. And so for everyone from Nigeria, from the diaspora, who is clocked in here today, physically, digitally, even spiritually, we are very grateful for your presence. Thank you for taking your time to grace this event today. Please give yourselves a round of applause. My name is Dr. Vivian Nwosu, and it's a very big privilege leading off the team presentations again this year. In 2024, I was opportune to serve in the role of business development, which means that I led the charge in most of the marketing endeavors, brand growth and strategies, research development, as well as operations. I stand here today with utmost confidence, with joy, with pride, as to all what the team has accomplished this year. And this beautiful morning, over the next couple of minutes, I'll be taking you through this progress, the milestones that we achieved, as well as our plans for the future. The theme of my presentation today is Beyond the Business. In 2024, AssetHaus was the holding company to two major ventures, AM Realty, which is the real estate development and marketing arm of the business, the vehicle through which most of you purchase units in Cresville Apartments. And Cresville Apartments is our hospitality brand that daily focuses on redefining hospitality and prioritizing satisfaction, and the reason why most of you are here today. So a very good friend of mine kept telling me this year, he kept telling me, Vivian, everything in this life is a story. Everything in this life is a story. Everything in this world is a story. And at some point, it started to sound like a broken record. But when I was making this presentation, that statement kept resonating with me. Indeed, everything in this life is a story, as well as Cresville. And I'll start from the very beginning. So you see, this is the outline I'll be using. With the drive and passion to want to create a very viable real estate product that transcends all limitations, as well as has very low barrier to entry, we sought to answer very key questions. The first of that being, how can we guarantee steady and attractive returns for our investors? This question was answered in 2022 when we created the innovative model that we all know as Cresville today. In 2023 March, we launched Cresville at our maiden location at Ilupeju. Last year, when I did my presentation, I mentioned a couple of limitations that we faced at this location. Today, we've transcended all of that, but this was not without answering some more questions. After we answered this question, we also had to answer how to satisfy our clients and how to ensure that we keep optimizing returns for our investors. We went back to the drawing board, and then we came up with an aggressive expansion strategy that started from Cresville Prime 2 at Surulere. A different location, more units, more diverse offerings. But then even at this stage, we realized that, okay, some people still can't afford what we have to offer, and we are very affordable. What can we do different? Okay, let's bring studios into the mix. Some people were asking for swimming pool and for other premium amenities. And they were like, okay, let's do all that in Oakville residence at Surulere. And so Oakville was birthed. But still, we noticed that out of the 10 people that come to make inquiries, 3 people ask for locations on the island, 3 people ask for locations at Ikeja, and then 4 are open to whatever you suggest to them. So for these 6 people that eventually go away because we can't provide what they want, we had to go back and bring something for them. And then we came up with Astor Apartments Lekki, which is going to be Cresville Lekki, the first Cresville on the island. And then we came up with Altua Residence at Ikeja, all going to be 4-star, 5-star projects. And then to even satisfy more high-brow clients in a high-brow location, we came up with Brooks End and Tony. Now, let me tell you, it is easier said than done. Everything I've said now is no easy feat at all. And on a daily basis, we are faced with a lot of difficult questions and tough decisions. But be rest assured that the team managing your investment is a powerhouse of innovative, of creative, of resilient, of value-driven, of individuals with integrity, and individuals that chase excellence on a daily basis. Sorry, in fact, excellence chases us. Thank you.
Join me as I walk you through the figures. I'm not the BD. She will tell you so many stories, but I deal with the numbers. I love it. Okay. I'll start with this. In 2023, exactly on the 16th of December, we held a meeting like this, though not here. And we highlighted the achievement of 11 apartments, 7 one-bedroom, and 4 two-bedroom. And within less than 8 months, we generate, as of that day, we generated over 50 million naira in less than 8 months of operation at Ilukweju. And we paid out 51% to our investors, and 49% was incurred on our expenses. However, as we are all seated in the room today, we have 18 more apartments. Oh, this is supposed to be 1. We have 18 more apartments, 17 at 17 one-bed and 1 unit of 2-bedroom. This to us is not just a promise kept. It is value-driven, and we as a team, we are proud of these achievements. Thank you. For every business, you will understand the power of cash flow. And for every business today is always a cash flow problem. But I solidly believe that in solving your cash flow, you must increase your inflow. That is the first place to start. And we recognize this as a team. We ensure that in 2024, we have increased cash flow, inflow for us. In Q1, we recorded over 30 million naira. This one is at Ilukweju. In Q2, over 35 million naira. And let's pause a little bit. Earlier on, I mentioned that in less than 8 months, we generated over 50 million. Our Q1 and our Q2 exceeded what we generated at Ilukweju in less than 8 months. And we did not relent on that. In Q3 too, Ilukweju generated over 39 million naira. In Q3 too, because we launched, Surulere was launched in Q3 exactly 31st of August. That was when we started operation. And we generated this amount. And I would like to pause and go back to 2023, December on the 16th. When one of our investors has a question, he said, how sure are you that you people, you are going to generate more money at Surulere? Because you are new. You are just testing the water. We have so many questions. And this is the proof of it. In Q1 of Surulere starting out, we were able to generate this amount. And Q4, this Q4 is without projection of December. This is what we've done. For Ilukweju alone, we've generated over 130 million naira. And at Surulere, over 64 million naira we've generated in less than 5 months of operation. This to show that we as a team, we are set out for the good things and we know how to put ourselves to work. Vivian mentioned earlier on that we don't sleep 24 hours. Reach out to us by 2 a.m. We are still awake. That is because we are particular about all our investors.
Hi, my name is Jedediah. I represent AssetHaus. We're having our investors meet and greet where we'll be preaching the gospel of investment and having wonderful returns. So now, as we've properly established and displayed on the inside, we've shown you how we've taken your investment funds, put it in real estate, and brought out something wonderful in which you're earning returns monthly on your investment. Now, most of our investors are about to break even on their initial investment in just over 2 years. I mean, that is wonderful. As that, right now, I don't think there's any investment company or real estate company that is doing just about that. But yeah, in the coming few months, coming few years, they will be coming to, they'll be getting profits, making more money, and we'll continue making them more money.
But right about now, ladies and gentlemen, we've heard so many people speak. We've heard Dr. Vivian talk about the journey so far. We've heard Abosede, the financial person, come to give us lots of numbers that we have smiled at, good numbers that we'd like to see. But right about now, it is important that we hear from the pioneer himself, the CEO. Ladies and gentlemen, the person I'm about to bring to you is a man of timber and caliber, a man whose vision birthed what we are here today. He is the financial maverick. He is the business mogul himself. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please join me with a resounding round of applause as I welcome the CEO of this. Ladies and gentlemen, Engineer Adebolu Mayowa. Come on, we can do.
It's so great to see every single one of your faces again. Last year, we were about 30, but now we're growing. So that's telling us a message. The level of the responsibility keeps going up year on year. And the reason why we decide to still keep this investors meet and greet up and running every year is that we want to renew our confidence in you. We want you to renew. We want you to still trust us and see that tenacity, that hunger, that dedication has not stopped. And very briefly, in 20 to 30 minutes, I'll be running through my presentation to operate any assets that any developer builds. So everyone wants to build, make their profit, sell, and exit. So we sold for a couple of notable real estate developers, and a lot of the clients we sold to that time kept on sending us series of messages. How can I optimize this asset? How much money can I possibly make? But our tenacity did not align with the developers that we were selling for. They just wanted to sell and exit. So if you tell them we need to provide these facilities to optimize the assets of our buyers, they would not answer you. So when the powers are not in your hands, you have to start to innovate. And that was what bettered AM Realty. Our strategy was very simple. We wanted to build properties that we could manage on behalf of our investors that trusted us with their hard-earned money. And we wanted to be responsible for them every month. And we were young, we didn't have money. So the only option was to start small. I will mention three things today. Before we entered the lease, operates, and transfer model, no developer that was doing lease is when you acquire or you get a property for 25 years and you return it back to the owners of the land. Before we started, no developer before us had built on a leased land and took full control of all the properties in that land. Nobody. So what you would see very commonly in Lagos Island, they would build 5 shops for them on the ground floor. If the families don't want shops, they would request that you should give them an entire floor. And do you know why the developers consented to that model? Because they were not going to build those houses with quality materials. And that's why you would see after 25, 30 years, you would need to do major rehabilitation or even knock down the structure. So that was our selling point. When we approached the landowners, we told them, we have a very clear model. We can't give you any units at all because our investors would have to co-own this unit with us for the period of lease, and we're going to hand over a quality building to you after 25 years, untouched. And whatever brand we had built on that land, you would most likely inherit it. Now you would ask me, as a businessman, would I allow them to inherit it? No. Most likely we'll still buy those assets from them. But we needed to start, and that was the easiest way to start. In 2023, we launched our first project in Ilupejo. Our investors that bought can tell how disadvantaged that location was. I remember Mrs. Collins here. She was the one that convinced her husband to buy. Not because it was in a fantastic location, but she said, if only this guy's passion doesn't die, then he will deliver on his promises. And this is not just about me. This is about myself and the amazing team that has worked with us for the past 2.5 years. Please, can you put your hands together for them? In a disadvantaged location, you have to accept reality. The reality is, for every 5 people that come, 2 people would say they don't like the location. You have to accept reality. So when someone that has a property in Lekki gets 5 customers that want to stay, most likely all the 5 of them would lodge, right? But when you're in a location where out of 5, 3 people will tell you no, 2 people will tell you yes. What does that mean? You double your efforts and you work harder. And we accepted that reality. And you can, from what the VP Finance had said, you can see how we have performed excellently over the past 1 year. I think we deserve a round of applause for that. In our recent, see me, I was supposed to use the slide. Okay. In our recent Twitter space with Carl Waja, we had a client that we didn't know it was on the call, and he said, and I quote, when I bought that property in Ilupeju, I bought another property in Lekki where my returns kept on undulating. So you get 700K this month. The next month you are spending minus 1 million because someone has destroyed your chairs. The following month, you are not getting customers. He kept on having edits upon edits. And someone that we have paid between 300 to 400K consistently every month for the past 1.5 years has earned net profit more than the property he has in Lekki Phase 1. So it's not really about where the property is situated. It's about the tenacity and the vision of the founders and the team driving that vision. You would ask me, okay, yeah, I talked about the lease strategy. When we moved away from the lease strategy because our investors wanted more. They didn't want to just own properties for 15 or 25 years. They wanted to own it forever. And we still didn't have money because lease strategy would reduce your profitability by at least 1/4 because it is the same brick and mortar. You're using the same cement, granite, and sand to build, but you're charging 1/4 less because you can't tell someone to pay a property that it would buy outrightly for a lease, right? So we needed to reduce our operating expenses, and thankfully I'm an engineer, so investors didn't pay for my labor. I supervised it. It was a 2-story building, and we're able to deliver Crestview Surulere this year, August. Now, we wanted to move into joint venture. That was another challenge because we didn't have enough money to buy the land. Most developers would approach landowners and say, oh, you have this land, I have some cash. We split the units 50-50, 60-40. We didn't do that. I don't know if there are developers that did that after 2022, but we approached them and we convinced them for cash equity. What that means is I don't mind you taking a lot of my profit, but I'm not going to give you 1 unit. Do you know why? Because I want to guarantee Mr. Otekaye Tobi 500,000 naira every month. And the only way I can guarantee it is if I have total control over the top line revenue. As you can see, Boss already said, our operating expenses quadrupled. We were on band C before they moved us to band A. We were paying about 700K a month. Now we're paying 2.8 million. Can I quadruple my price in a location that is disadvantaged? No. So if I'd given the landowner 40% of the units, we would have closed down or convinced them to turn that property to annual rental. So you can see sometimes you need to stick to your plan. Ensure that that vision is followed to the last letter. We lost a lot of profit to the person that owned the land because that was the only incentive. You were not giving him any units. And we delivered. That was our first project where we owned, where we sold to the investors to own outrightly. That's Crestview luxury version, Oakville. It would be the first Crestview that will have a swimming pool and a gym. Please, I think we deserve a round of applause. Let me have some water. When you have a plan and you're very diligent and passionate and you have, in AssetHaus, we have one common mantra. If you didn't day, just like how every coach wants to copy Pep Guardiola, if you don't have the players, you can't do it. Rodri was injured, and you can see Man City lost in 10 games, they only won one match with the same strategy. So what that tells you is, even if you have the right strategy, if you don't have the right team that are passionate, you can't achieve the result. You can't. And 2 years after, I think we are even hungrier than we were 2022. Am I right? We walked into the bank. You can ask the bankers. Mr. Henry is representing Taj Bank here today. They don't finance real estate companies. They don't. Do you know why? Because there's no incentive for real estate companies to build and return the money. Because if they tell you they've not sold the property, how do you want to pay back your loan? So they don't finance. Because the real estate developer can take the bank loan and get the latest G-Wagon and will come and tell you that he has not sold the property. Or he can even decide that he's not going to build something standard. And if Mr. O wants to purchase the land for 100, he looks at the structure and says, no, I'm not buying this. We told them, Mr. Henry, you can confirm, these are my investors here. 60% of all of our projects are sold at foundation level. These investors, they keep referring us to their friends and families because we have not failed them, and we would never fail them. Now, for the very first time, I'm proud to say we partnered with a bank, and they will be financing. Hypothetically, we have gotten the finance, and that was what we used to acquire the land in Anthony, which would be our 6th location in 1.5 years. I remember a client, I took him to site when we got the land, and he was like, you can't tell me that you are not being funded by politicians. Somebody is bankrolling you. Because how do you launch a project April last year, and you have 6 more projects? Do you know why? We're extremely focused. Every day, like Bosse said, Paulo is our community manager. He handles all the agents. 2 a.m., Paulo is awake. The customer care representatives, 2 a.m., they are dropping receipts on the group chats. Sometimes we receive 2-3 million naira daily transactions for Crestview. They are not sleeping, all because they also buy into the vision that we have. And like I've always, Dayo has been the one that has driven the finance part of our business. And please, can you please put your hands together for it? Very soon, we'll be going into the capital market because our ambitions are so big, extremely. Sometimes it scares the hell out of me, but when you look at the economy and you look around, what do you see? People are running away. No one is believing in this country. 7 out of 10 of my friends are out. And if you're going to remain in this country to add value to the economy, you can't be normal. You can't have one iota of doubt. You have to drive, you have to be focused, and you have to be obsessed with value. No matter, even if you don't make any money, that vision has to keep driving you. You would ask me, how have we been able to survive in a year where the inflation rose 34%? How? If you had made a projection of 10 million as profits, and you have budgeted that 10 million to buy another land, before you finish, that land is already 30 million. So how do you survive in an economy like that? it has been extremely difficult. But despite that, we have delivered our project in due time. And I think we also deserve a round of applause for that. Is this the best time to invest in Nigeria? I know every single one of you would say yes because you have invested. But to anyone watching, I would ask questions and I want you to answer, please. When last have we had a level of import and export balance? Over the past 15 years that I've started understanding economics, when last have we had more exports than imports in this country? Do you know why? The middle class have woken up. The middle class have woken up. Gone are the days when the government was subsidizing the currency. So when $1 was 500 naira, I mean, you can buy the latest car. When someone abroad would have to finance that car for 5 years. People can buy houses of 250 million when the rental value is just 2 million. There's no accountability in buying property. So you're buying property just because you want to buy property. And we are positioning ourselves to be that company that when the mortgage financing is solved, AssetHaus, Crestville will be the largest beneficiaries. How else would I back everything I've said? The economy has been quite challenging, but it has not reflected in our revenue combined in Ilupeju and Surulere. Why? Because our customers have been able to adapt easily to the requirements in this capitalism economy. And you would ask me, what are our target audience? In Crestville, Vivian, I don't know if she's talked about it, between 23 to 28. That's the average customers that we have in Crestville. And at some point, when things became more expensive, we had to innovate. When things became more expensive, we had to start thinking of, she walked up to me and she was trying to suggest experience marketing, where you have people come, like the sip and paint activities that you saw. So even people that don't want to stay in the apartment, there's something that would drive them. They don't just want to come and sleep and leave, because they can do that in their houses. Now that life is even more stable. So you need to be more innovative to be able to drive them to the. So it has even made us more innovative. In my house where I stay, the landlady, if she pumps water, in 3 hours the water is finished. But she kept on pumping the water because light is cheap. When they moved us to Band A, we didn't have water again. And she was forced to break all the pipes, all the supply pipes, to rerun another one. That's to tell you that when the citizens or when the customers can adapt to the new market reality, the business will keep booming. And Crestville has been able to prove that to every single one of you here today. Yeah, I just mentioned what the vision is for Crestville. I'm happy and I'm proud to say that at least 5% of our investors reached out to us that they wanted to buy Ikeja. They didn't have the money. We sent them the returns that we have paid over the past 2 years, and it convinced their bank to finance a percentage of the purchase price. And we also had an agreement with the bank to take a percentage of the returns that will be paid every month. So that's to tell you that we are positioning ourselves to be that top choice for mortgage-driven financing in Nigeria. Yeah, our expansion strategy. Everyone knows where we have been. Ilupeju, 2 in Surulere, 1 in Sherborne in Lekki, 1 in Ikeja, 1 in Antony. In 1 year, 6 months, we're able to do this. And I would ask you, where do you see us moving to next year? So I will take 3 random, I'll give the mic to 3 random people. Or do we have an extra mic? So where do you see us moving to next year? In Lagos or outside Lagos?
Oh, outside Lagos, Abuja. Abuja.
Where do you see us moving to?
Most likely Abuja too.
Okay, if we're going to move to anywhere around Lagos, where would you see us moving to? Let me ask Mr. Collins. Mr. Kayode. Where do you see us moving to? In Lagos, if we are to expand credit to
Another Ikeja.
Let me tell you one amazing stat. Currently, Crestview controls 2.5% of all the shortlets in the entire country. Currently. So by the end of next year, when we have Ikeja and Anthony, that number would rise to Jed. I think 3-point-something%, right? So I still think a lot of our target audience would not want to go to an hotel. So, but we don't want to take risk with your money. So we want Crestview Lekki to start running. We want Crestview Ikeja to start running. We want Oakview to start running. And we allow the market to determine our next move. But yeah, where are we moving to next year? Q1. So Q1 2025, we are looking at expanding to Lekki Phase 1 and Abuja. We have done a lot of research in this. I was in Abuja some few weeks ago, and I discovered one problem. There are no aggregated shortlet brands. So when you want an apartment, you would most likely be talking to an agent that would have added one money or the other. And one thing we have been able to solve is our customers coming to us directly. So it solves the middleman, and also they call it loading. So you load the money. So the money is 50,000. You tell your customer 60, 65. So you take out that 15. We can't afford to do that in Crestview because it's a brand and the prices are all over our social media pages. So the plan, with the help of the bank, will be expanding to Lekki Phase 1 and Abuja. This is very important, and I wanted to personally take my time to explain this. Crestville Apartments and AM Realty are subsidiaries of AssetHaus. So AssetHaus owns all the shares of these two subsidiaries. This year, when we launched Crestville, we started operations. Then people from Ikeja Electric came and said, we want to do shortlets. It's a commercial project and we can't launch. We need to get a transformer. How much would it cost? 21 million. Before that time, we took initiatives to also beautify. So if you see Crestville in Surulere, you would see we did a lot of paintings. We spent money to have air conditioners in every floor. We didn't know that the transformer was coming. If we knew, probably wouldn't have spent that money. But they came, and we had to spend that money. And we did not ask one kobo from any investor. How did we make that money? From the profits of our of the holding company, from the holding company. We didn't ask 1 naira. And what did we do? We still put ourselves under pressure to ensure that the returns the investors would earn would not be affected by whatever will be taken away from them. So if we have promised investors that they would earn so amount of money, if I'm going to be deducting the debts that has been loaned to the hospitality subsidiary from AssetHaus, they won't earn that money. So we needed to task ourselves to increase the occupancy so that the returns would not be felt. I think we deserve a round of applause for that. Thank you. Hope I'm not asking you to clap too much for me. Perhaps I'm not impressing you enough. Another thing is managing talents. Investors, at some point, you would say, why are you paying me 45% of the revenue? Why are you paying me? I mean, you can pay more. See these guys, the team members, they are fucking smart. And you require a lot to manage talent. If not, they will leave. We need to create a system and a business that can ensure that the investors are satisfied and the people that don't sleep are well compensated. We need to strike that balance. If not, they would leave. because they are very ambitious and they are putting everything on the line to ensure that we don't call you 1 month to say we can't pay you this month. And I'm throwing this back to you. If you have bought any project that runs on this model, judge us in 2 years. Aggregate all your returns, all the returns you have been getting elsewhere in 2 years and compare. You will see that at the end of the day, we would come out on top. I can stand here and tell you that everything we are doing can be easily copied. Someone can see our model and say, see, just go to their page and copy everything they are doing and duplicate it. That's the point we are getting to. And I'm happy that these guys, you don't really understand how much work they put in. We are very, very competitive. And we are not competing with others, we're competing with ourselves. 2 things that we plan to achieve: maximizing shareholder or investors' return. When an agent comes and he brings a client that wants to pay $45,000, that's the revenue. There's a cost of sales to that money. Because you are telling the agent you cannot increase the price, you have to pay them commission out of that money. Right? Aside that, their operating expenses, their capital expenditure that you can't run away from unless you want to lose your customers. 2 months ago, we renovated an apartment. We spent 1.7 million. Mind you, the investor gets about 500 to 600,000 naira every month. And we spent 1.7 million on 1 apartment. And we renovated at least 4 apartments that particular month. The investor didn't feel it. Maybe if they did, a variance of like 5-10%. We took that responsibility because we didn't want the returns to be impacted by whatever we were spending. And we still have to create great customer service. The customer service team, will travel miles to deliver gift items to those that have stayed in Crestview that either must have done a proposal or whatever. We spend a lot of money gifting items to them to build quality relationships with them. We went to Unilag and we spent millions of naira to ensure that we can grow, not just grow with them, but also lead by example. If you're a student here, please, can you raise your hands up? You're from Unilag. We want them to understand that you're not just in school to get your grades and leave. We want you to understand that when you graduate, we have the energy, we have the brain. We need to work and deliver returns for those that have made money before us. And you have to do that diligently with everything, every single blood water you have in your system. And you can see, it's not magic. We had a vision, we pitched to them, and that's one of the reasons why we came to you. Let's together drive this vision and deliver the returns and maximize their return on investment every month. Of recent, I've had a couple of challenges. Some of the investors have been trying to reach me over the past 6 weeks, and they've not been able to. And I'll tell you why. It is easier said to say, it's very easy to say you want to build, go to Abuja, you want to expand. It comes at a price. It comes at a price. You get a land, somebody is coming to claim 1 or 2 things, or moneyless are coming, the government are... Please, I want us to appreciate some of our representatives from Lagos State Lands Bureau, Mr. Said. Thank you very much for coming. We need to build formidable relationship with our stakeholders. We need to understand that if we have to defend this business model, we need to do everything it takes to protect our investment. And right now, we would need some alliances with the government. Thankfully, as an engineer, I built very good relationship with LASPA, Lagos State Material Testing, Lagos State Safety Commission. Thankfully, we have not had any incident. Lagos State Environmental. Of recent, we had to seek approval from PS Drainage Services to construct the drainage that runs from the beginning of Crestview and Tony down to the canal. We are doing that because we want to add value to that. We want to add value to that community. As we do this, we also have to put it in our minds that we want our universe to be safe. We don't want to just build. We are also investing so much in renewable energy, green energy. Dayo was sending me a link some weeks back, and he said, Mayowa, Dayo, I'm telling them what you told me. Tell your investors that we are going completely off grid. I said, how much would that cost? Ha! He said, maybe like 7 million naira each. You want me to tell the investors to pay extra 7 million? So, and that's the reason why we want to have banking partners, so they can finance our revenue line, ensure that we still deliver this dream and this dream of ours, and it will not still affect your returns. These are some of the things that we're planning in the future. So we want to go, at some point, we want to go completely off grid, or not even not consume too much carbon emission. So blocks, usually if you want to manufacture blocks, you would have to use a machine that emits carbon. So we're working with some professors in Unilag to see how we can use other renewable sources to achieve a block wall. Because at the end of the day, who takes hammer to try to peel off a plastered wall and confirm if it was made of block? So we want to start thinking out of the box to ensure that whatever we are doing, we are still not harming the universe, and ensuring that the energy is as clean as we can. And that way we can lead by example, and every other person would, of course, copy us, because we want to be pioneers. I want to say another thank you to all the investors. We have, at the time we finished selling the 2-bedroom, we had not left the ground. Mr. Henry, can you hear me? At the time we finished selling this 2-bedroom, we had not left the ground. We were still 15 meters beneath the ground. They trust us. They trust the team. And we would never let them down. We wouldn't let you down. Almost all of our projects, 3-4 months, we are completely sold out. And you know what? We are not marketing. Our focus is not to market these apartments. That is not our focus. You will maybe not even see our ads online. Just check. You won't see. We only have 3 partners. 3 partners. The 3 partners all together did 1 billion in revenue. 3 partners. Just 3. Do you know why? Because their clients kept coming back. Their clients kept coming back. So the energy would have used to start to look for new customers is when you have not built relationship, that you look for new customers. A customer, this is Mr. I'm going to start mentioning their names. He brought a customer. Mr. Lala brought a customer. Mr. Osho brought a customer. I can keep mentioning. Mr. Babatunde brought a customer. Almost all of our 65% of our investors brought at least one person. We had someone from Afrimex Bank that brought 4 people. So that's alone allows us to focus on what is most important, the returns that we have promised our investors. And anytime we launch, the next month they are collecting their returns. We don't waste time. Or do we waste time? No. Brooks End, we have not started anything. No. We just wanted to move our container office. We have sold about 3 units already. So we want to continue building that confidence, and that's why we are organizing this. Crestview Lekki will be launched next year, Q1 2025. Oakville also will be launched Q1 2025. And please, I want to personally plead to all the investors that bought. Crestville is now, you know, the last time we didn't talk about it, so we are evolving. Crestville is now a localized hospitality business. What that means is that would allow the environment and the structure itself to determine its price points. So the prices will not be uniform. So if one is 35K, 45K, another one can be 75,000. Why? Because we want to spend more money to ensure that the furnishing is of standard. It can match the standard. Crestview Prime 2, we couldn't achieve that because it was a lease. But please, for those that have bought outrightly, we know you have the money. If you need to pay in 3 months, we don't mind. We can do that. You can pay us instrumentally. Let us ensure that when Crestview luxury version Oakville and Lekki launches, anyone that sees that, any customer that sees the pictures of what we have done, let them be the one to keep forwarding it to their friends and families. And we are going to charge less. Do you know why? Economics of scale. We have more apartments. We have more funds to market. We have more agents. We have about 537 agents that market for us every single day. to bring in occupants. All of this comes at a cost. So please, we'll start sending memos and bills. For those of you that want to do it yourself, would have a standard and a template to follow. Don't forget, you're all earning the same amount of money. So we have to also be very frugal with our spending. Thank you very much.